All right, good morning. Thank you everyone for joining us today for the Delta Region Community Health Systems Development Programs Capitalize on Your Capacity training. I am Robbie Nato, Senior Program Coordinator with the DRCHSD, Delta for short, Community Care Coordination Team. Before we get started, I just want to do some housekeeping. Please connect your video feature if you can, and to avoid any background noise, please remain muted for now. To unmute your line, simply select the microphone icon in the lower left corner of your screen, or press your mute button if you're on phone, and then we'll have you introduce yourself in the next few moments. We also encourage questions and discussion, especially for this one today. So please unmute your line or utilize the chat box located also on the bottom ribbon. We encourage the use of the phrase "I'm complete" to indicate when you are finished speaking. And if you experience any technical issues today, please feel free to reach out to me or Megan in the chat box, and we're happy to help. And our purpose, the National Rural Health Resource Center, the Center for short, is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to sustaining and improving rural healthcare in rural communities. The center has served rural hospitals, clinics, and other providers nationwide for over 25 years in the following core areas: transition to value and population health, collaboration and partnership, performance improvement, health information technology, and workforce. The Delta Regional Authority and the Health Resources Services Administration's Federal Office of Rural Health Policy have partnered to support the Delta Region Community Health Systems Development Program. Through a cooperative agreement with the federal office, the center administers the program and manages the provision of services to the selected hospitals and communities. Services are provided through technical assistance, which includes various assessments, on-site consultations, action planning, and coaching implementation of best practices and adoption of key transition strategies. The center is dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and anti-racism. We create an environment that reflects the communities we live in and serve, a place where everyone feels accepted and empowered to be their full, authentic selves and where everyone belongs. And if you want to find out a little bit more, we do have a nifty little page on our website. And now I will hand it over to you, Leif.
All right, just doing some screen switching here. So again, thank you, Robbie, and the rest of the staff there. Welcome to Capitalize on Your Capacity. So today you will be introduced to a framework that will help you know and understand who is in your community and what level you can expect them to contribute and to be involved. Today's session is about understanding what drives people's motivation to engage and commit time, energy, and those resources to a project, initiative, or coalition. By understanding what motivates people to contribute and at what level of contribution is needed by an individual or group increases engagement and minimize frustrations. So before we jump in, we do have an opening poll, as our sessions will all have. So I'm going to ask Robbie to go ahead and launch that for us.
I believe we are looking for 17 responses if possible.
Looks like we're at 17, Robbie.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and all right, so as far as our agenda for today, you can go ahead and see on the screen, but we'll mostly be focusing on teaching the concepts and gaining an understanding of both our why and then the circles of involvement. So we've got our welcome. We'll talk about golden circles, that why. You'll have an opportunity to really share your story, dive in a little bit deeper, and create your own personal impact statements. Of course, we'll give you a quick break, and then we'll take the second half, really diving into those circles of involvement and identifying the different sectors. And how you can worksheet and templates on how you are able to move forward with that. So some community building and introductions. This is something that we would do at each and every class and training. But again, we're going to go around and have you share your name and your role. And then your favorite summer activity. And we're going to ask that your answers for that favorite summer activity just be 3 to 5 words. So just the tweet, no explanation. And to get things kicked off, let me pull my people back up here. Let's go ahead and go with Brooke, Javon, and Cassandra.
Can y'all hear me?
We sure can.
Okay. This is Brooke Hatch. I'm the Director of Human Resources at Bradley County Medical Center in Warren, Arkansas. And my favorite summer activity is probably just the slower days. And I like summer naps. Yeah, I'm not a big doer.
Thanks, Brooke. Javon, Cassandra, and Joy. Oh, sorry, Joy's not here. Javon, Cassandra, and Candy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Javon Howard. I am with Chessie in Caro in Alexander County. My favorite summer activity is going to amusement parks. I'm complete.
Thank you. Cassandra, Candy, Kim.
Good morning. My name is Cassandra Madger, and I'm community champion for Cross Ridge Community Hospital in Wynne, Arkansas. And my favorite activity in the summer is vacationing. I'm complete.
Thank you. We've got Candy, Kim, Courtney.
Hi, I'm Candy from St. Bernard's Five Rivers. I'm the Ambulatory Services Administrator here. My favorite summer activity is softball.
Hey, thanks, Candy. Kim, Courtney, Emily.
Morning, I'm Kim Andrews from Lawrence Memorial Hospital, and I'm the community champion here. And my favorite summer activity is going to the beach. I'm complete.
Thanks, Kim, Courtney, Emily, Amanda. Courtney, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
My name is Courtney Crawford. I'm from Lawrence Memorial Hospital in Walnut Ridge, Arkansas, and I'm the Community Relations Director, and my favorite summer activity is going to the beach.
Thanks, Courtney. Emily, Amanda, Stacy. Emily, are we having trouble with your microphone again today? All right, you can use the chat for now. And then whatever you did last time to get it working, try that and we'll come back to you. All right. So let's keep going with Amanda, Stacy, and then Penny.
My name is Amanda Gilbert, and I am the Chief Project Officer at Mainline Health Systems in Monticello, Arkansas. And my favorite summer activity is probably vacationing. Complete.
Thanks, Amanda. Stacy, Penny, Hannah. Oh, Stacy, you've got yourself muted.
Hey, my name's Stacey Dozat. I'm the community champion at Oakdale Community Hospital, and my favorite summer activity is watching baseball.
Thanks,
I'm
Stacy.
complete.
Penny, Hannah, Jennifer.
Hi, this is Penny Welch. I'm the Human Resources Director at Oakdale Community Hospital. And my favorite summer activity is hanging out in the pool. I'm complete.
Thanks, Penny. Got Hannah, Jennifer, Teresa.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm the coordinator of community relations here at Washington County Medical Center. And my favorite summer activity is going to the beach.
Thank you, Hannah, Jennifer, Teresa, Leah.
Hi, my name is
Jennifer Pritchett. I'm the community champion here at Washington County Hospital and Nursing Home, and my favorite summer activity is spending time with my kids. I just became a mom of 3. I had my son in January, and so I'm adjusting to mom life with 3. So just spending time at home, on the water slide, out having fun, riding bikes. So just spending the summer with my kids. I'm complete.
Good morning, my name is Teresa Grimes, Washington County Hospital and Nursing Home. I'm the CEO. My favorite summer activity is pool with the grandkids, and I am complete.
Thank you, Teresa. We've got Leah, Megan, Lanaya.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Leah Cross. I am the community champion for Hood Memorial Hospital, and my favorite summer activities is eating snowballs.
Hey, thank you. Megan, Lanaya, Andrea.
I'm Megan Haynes. I'm with Wagner Medical Clinic in Manila, Arkansas, and my favorite summer activity is eating snow cones with my daughter. Sorry, I'm
You're good. Lanaya is, and I'm not sure if Andrea is here. So Lanaya, Andrea, and then Becca.
Hi, I'm Lanaya. I'm with Cape Family Medical Clinic in Cape Girardeau, and my favorite summer activity is going to the farmers market.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Woods. I'm the marketing and missions coordinator here at Greene County Health System, and I used to be the community champion supervisor, but since Gwendolyn has left, I'm in that role now. And also my favorite summer activity is just traveling to different places with my family.
Thank you,
And I'm
Andrea.
complete.
Becca, Jamie, Robbie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Becca Stanfield. I'm the community program coordinator with the center. And my favorite summer activity is going canoeing on the river. And I'm complete.
Thanks,
Morning,
Becca. Jamie, Robbie.
Good morning, I'm Jamie Goodpester. I am a community program specialist with the center. I'm located in Louisville, Kentucky, and my favorite summer activity is happening super soon, and it's back to school.
Thank you. And Robbie, Dave, and Angie.
Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. I'm Robbie Nato, Senior Program Coordinator with the CCC team. And my favorite summertime activity is going to concerts because that's the only time it's warm up here in Superior, Wisconsin, where I'm calling from.
Thanks, Robbie. Dave, then Angie.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Clausen, team member with Hugh Life, joining from Westfield, Indiana. And my new favorite summertime activity is sleep, because we have a 2-month-old baby here. Sleep. I'm complete.
You're funny, Dave. Angie Asa Lovestead, and I'm coming to you from Iowa, team member, coach, facilitator with Hugh Life. And my favorite summer activity, I finally was home and I got to dig in the dirt and play with my flowers this past weekend. So that I am complete.
Thank you. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Megan Jacobson, also a Hugh Life team member, and I am joining you from just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I work and reside. And my favorite summertime activity is camping and fishing.
Megan, we have a couple of...
Go ahead, Jamie. You're catching it.
We missed JD, and then Emily wanted to try again to see if her volume will work, her sound will work.
Thank you so much. Emily, why don't you give it a go? No, can't hear you yet. If you need to call in that with your cell phone to get that audio, go ahead and do that, because you will be working one-on-one with a partner for a lot of today. And so it'll be important that you are able to get your voice into this space. And then thank you, JD. I apologize.
That's okay. Very forgettable.
No.
JD, I am the CEO with Cape Family Medical Clinic.
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear. Oh,
yes.
If you're talking,
Okay.
go.
I had to unplug it. Sorry about that. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Emily. JD, go ahead.
CEO Cape Family Medical Clinic in beautiful Cape Girardeau, Missouri, where it's 8,000 degrees. My favorite summer activity is gardening, even though I'm terrible at it.
All right. Thank you, JD. Thank you. Anyone else that we missed? I don't think we got them. All right. So before we jump into the content, let's just review the objectives. And could I have a volunteer to lend some voice and read our learning objectives for us today?
I'll read it. Learning objectives: learn how to maximize capacity of collaborations with community partners. Identify the why that brings people to the table and helps them engage. Understand different levels of involvement that can be used and leveraged to strengthen community engagement.
All right, thank you so much for that. So I am now going to be handing it over to Dave, who's going to start talking about finding your why.
All right. Yes. I'm excited. This is one of my favorite workshops of all time because, well, starting with why had a very profound impact in my life as well. And today we're going to spend some time exploring the why behind your work. Why will inspire people. And individuals who are inspired will follow because they want to, not because they have to. So we're going to be exploring the concept of Simon Sinek's research from his 2009 book titled Start With Why, that you can see here on the screen, and how we can use that to shift in our approach to our work can really make a profound impact and difference in the work that we do and the individuals we interact with. And when we start by by stating our why rather than what we do, it sounds very, very different. What if Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech was titled, "I have a plan," rather than "I have a dream"? You can imagine it wouldn't have been as, inspirational. And by sharing what he believed in, he invites people who have the same belief to rally at the Civil Rights March in Washington in 1963. They came to Washington not because of him. They came for themselves. They came for what they believed in. They came for the why. And we're going to take a few minutes to watch a video that is a condensed version that really explains his book, Start With Why, and then also his second book, Find Your Why. Then after that, we're going to just have a nice little conversation to debrief, to unpack that video. Let me put the video up for us. All right.
I recently read Start With Why and Find Your Why by Simon Sinek.
If you met Simon Sinek at a party and asked him what he does, he could say, I write books on leadership. Or he could say, everything I do is devoted to one idea, to inspire people to do what inspires them, so that together we can change the world for the better. I happen to write leadership books because that's a great way to inspire people. Feel the difference? When Sinek starts with why, with his mission, what he does feels more important. If you resonate with Sinek's why, you might be compelled to ask more about his books, maybe buy his books, and share his books with your friends. That's the power of starting with why. Great companies like Nike and Apple leverage the power of starting with why by starting their marketing campaigns and their sales experiences by telling you what they stand for, not what they're selling. In 2018, Nike released an ad with the face of quarterback and civil rights activist Colin Kaepernick and the caption, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." No product, just Kaepernick's face and those words. The ad angered some people, and Nike's stock dipped the day after the ad was released. But over the next week, Nike's online sales jumped 25%. Nike made it clear what they believe and what they stand for, and those who believed what Nike believed went out and bought a whole bunch of Nike products. When you walk into an Apple store, you immediately get the sense that they stand for simplicity, beautiful design, and perfection. And that's not by accident. Apple wants you to resonate with what they believe and what they stand for before they tell you that their new iPad is $300 more than a similar tablet from another brand, because they know if you resonate with what Apple stands for, then you probably won't care if the iPad costs more than other products. Great businesses like Apple and Nike speak to your emotions first. They start with why, not what. Great leaders do the same. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't stand up in front of 250,000 people and tell them that he had a 10-step plan to end race segregation in the South. No, he told them that he had a dream. He said, I dream of a world where little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and little white girls as sisters and brothers. Dr. King influenced people to join the civil rights movement because he led with an inspiring vision, not with instructions. He started with why, not what. Great businesses and great leaders know why they do what they do, and they make sure everyone else does too. Author Simon Sinek says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So why do you do what you do? If you can answer that question, you'll not only inspire more people to buy your products and join your cause, you'll inspire yourself to get out of bed in the morning and push through difficult tasks. As Nietzsche once said, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. In the book Find Your Why, author Simon Sinek says discovering your why is like panning for gold in the river of the past. The gold is there, lost in the debris of the river, hidden by rushing water. Only when you take the time to pan for significant moments of the past, retrieving them nugget by nugget, will they turn into treasure. As you search through the river of your past, your goal is to fill the following why statement. My why is to blank so that blank. The first blank is how you want to help people, your contribution. The second blank is the impact you want that to have. The co-author of Find Your Why, David Mead, says his why is to propel people forward so that they can make their mark on the world. Simon Sinek's why is to inspire people to do what inspires them so that, together, we can change the world for the better. To help you find your why and fill in your why statement, try the following 2 exercises. First, the friend exercise. Author Simon Sinek found his why by asking a close friend, why do you consider me a good friend? His friend started with typical friend responses, well, I can trust you, or you're fun to be around. But Sinek pushed back and encouraged him to go a bit deeper by asking, what is it that makes me a unique friend? After a few uncomfortable moments, his friend said something that gave him goosebumps. He said, when I talk to you, I feel inspired. When he heard that, he knew he was close to finding his why. He thought more about it and experimented with the wording until he came up with the statement, my why is to inspire people to do what inspires them so that together we can change the world. Once Sinek could articulate his why, every decision in his life was simple and obvious. If something didn't contribute to his why, he didn't do it. In fact, he shut down a successful marketing business and started writing Start With Why soon after finding his why. Now, if the friend exercise doesn't work for you, you might want to try what I call the impactful people exercise. Create a list of people who have helped you become the person you are today. Was there a relative, maybe a grandma or a grandpa, who gave you the confidence to be yourself when everyone else thought you were weird? Was there a middle school teacher who changed the way you see the world and your role in it? Was there a sports coach who helped you set a higher standard for yourself? When you come up with a list of people who have played a pivotal role in helping you become the person you are today, share stories about the people who've impacted you with a partner. Your partner's role is to ask you specific questions about how those people impacted you, and notice when you come alive. The goal is to discover an impact that was so profound, so life-changing, that you feel it's your mission to have that impact on others. When I did this exercise, I told my partner about a story from high school, when I stuttered so badly during a class presentation that the teacher had to stop me halfway through. I felt pathetic, and whatever confidence I had vanished. But later that night, I saw an infomercial for Tony Robbins' Personal Power audio tapes. It looked cheesy, but I was desperate. I bought the audio tapes and listened to them on repeat. The more I listened to them, the more empowered I felt. It was his work that helped me see that I was capable of more than I thought. He taught me powerful mindsets and habits that ultimately helped me become the person I am today. After recalling the impact that Tony had on my life, I made it my mission to have a similar impact on other people's lives. That's why my why is to empower others so that they can do more than they thought was possible. After doing either exercise and filling in your why statement with words that inspire you and make you think, yes, this is me, this is who I am, let your why statement settle for a few days, like a cake needs to settle when you take it out of the oven. Then come back to it a few days later and see if it gives you the same level of inspiration. Repeat this process until you find your why. As Mark Twain once said, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
All right, so I want to use that same sort of go-around method that Megan used during introductions, because I'd love to hear from you all. What is one word or image that stands out to you from that video? All right, so we'll actually go Brooke, Courtney, and Candy. What is one word or image that stands out to you from that video?
What is standing out to me as I listened to the video was, I don't know that I've ever made that list. And I've read a lot of Simon's books. So it's just making me kind of rethink some things.
All right, thank you, Brooke. Courtney, Candy, Andrea.
Honestly, when he said, who made you feel, comfortable when you were weird? Like, I think we all feel weird at some times, I feel like we all feel weird whenever we try to stand up and do a presentation or whatever, but really we're overthinking it. And I don't know. I feel like I can connect with that.
All right, thank you, Courtney. Candy, Andrea, and Megan.
I would say the part where it talked about a relative, because my parents are why I do what I do. So that really struck home with me.
Thank you. Andrea, Megan, Amanda. All right, we'll come back to you, Andrea. Megan Haynes. Megan, Hugh Life, you're off the hook. Megan Haynes, Amanda, and JD.
Just the repetitive why, like just how he just repeats why the whole entire time. I just like how, I don't know.
All right, thank you. Amanda, JD, Leah.
It made me think about the people that have influenced me throughout my life and the reason I am how I am and where I am today.
Yeah. All right, thank you. JD, Leah, Penny.
For me, I was going to say it's inspire. It's how do I inspire others? How do others inspire me? So I like the word inspire.
All right. Leah, Penny, Stacy.
He kind of took mine with inspire, but no, it's okay. because I had another one was like impact. So how you see, well, from my standpoint, I see the health disparities in my community and I know my why. That's why I feel like I got the job as the population health specialist where I am at Hood Memorial Hospital, because I knew my why even before I got to this organization. And when it's so close to you and you see it all the time, it just motivates you to keep going every single day.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Penny, Stacy, Hannah. Oh, Penny, you're on mute.
Hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So one of the things that stuck out to me was whenever he asked the question of who influenced you, whether it was a relative, a teacher, or a coach. So that really stuck out to me.
All right, thank you. Stacy, Hannah, Javon.
I think the word that stuck out to me the most was impact. Kind of how Penny said, like, you know, a coach or a teacher, like someone in your past that, you know, had an impact on your life, like who you are today. So that's mine. I'm complete.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hannah, Javon, Cassandra.
What stood out to me is the gratitude I'm feeling for the motivation from my parents and other people in my life that have made me have the drive that I have now in order to do well at my job.
All right. Thank you. Javon, Cassandra, Emily.
The thing that stuck out to me the most was the image of Colin Kaepernick and the quote, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." I'm complete.
Yeah, all right. Cassandra, Emily, Lanaya.
The thing that stuck out to me was at the end, all of it was very, very good. But I guess the most important thing that happens when the day you're born and then the day you found out why you were born, because of some things that I've gone through in my life, is like I always look for that why. So that was very just helpful to see that, like I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Emily, Lanaya, Kim.
So I think the two words that stuck out to me most was impact and empowered. So when I think about my why, my reason, I think back to people who have inspired me and empowered me and just kind of pushed me to get to where I am.
All right, thank you. Lanaya, Kim, Jennifer.
The part that stuck out the most to me is when he was talking about like who is your why and who motivated you.
All right, all right. Kim, Jennifer, Teresa.
I think one of the things I took away from it is how important it is for you to discover your why. And I think when you discover that in yourself, it's easier to hopefully bring that out into someone, else. And when you know your purpose, I think you become more compassionate, and it's not just a job. It turns into a passion.
All right, Jennifer and Teresa, and then Jamie.
A word that stuck out to me was inspired. I think that resonated because what we do, we go out and we talk to people in the community, and I hope that I am inspiring something in them and impacting them in a way that's a positive outcome, and just making these relationships.
Yeah, all right.
So it makes me question if I'm being inspirational to them.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Teresa, Jamie, and Becca.
This is Teresa. So we're not comparing notes, but I did write down inspire, and thinking about, as we're doing an upcoming strategic plan, how to inspire so others will follow. So that comment, I wrote down emotions, tap into the emotions first to get people inspired, and then finding your why.
Yeah. All right. Not comparing notes. Yeah. Thank you,
We
Teresa.
get
All right. So Jamie and Becca.
One of the things that sticks out to me among the many, it would be, the idea of approaching something with why are we doing it versus this is what we're doing. And I think about that with my kids. Like, it works best if I tell my kids why we have to do something instead of mom wants you to do this. So I'm complete.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And Becca.
Everybody had really great answers, so I hate that I have to go last. But I would say that something that stood out to me was thinking how Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech started with, "I have a dream," instead of "I have a plan," and what difference that could have had on history. And I'm complete.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Becca. So now I got a few more questions for y'all, and this is open to anybody, so feel free to respond as you feel comfortable or inspired to respond. But I want you to think back and reflect on your own personal journeys. Where have you been inspired?
This is Cassandra, and for me, just like I said, I always look back with everything. Reflection is my go-to. When I get down, if I'm having a bad day, I always reflect on where I've been. Being born and raised in Chicago, went through a lot, and reflecting on all the magnificent people that God put in my life through my path. Like, he actually, like, that's the strong foundation. I say that a lot. Like, he created such a strong foundation when I was a little girl, and being exposed to people that took time, neighbors that took me to places that I never probably would have went if they hadn't taken the time to spend time with me, to the ballet, to different plays. And so being in Chicago, just like I said, it's just that wasn't readily available in the neighborhood that I grew up in. So I always like reflecting, always. That's my go-to, reflecting back on anything in my life and always making a positive out of it. I complete.
Yeah, I got a few nods and smiles as well. Thank you, Cassandra. A couple more folks. When you reflect back, where have you found yourself inspired?
This is JD. I'll go. What's funny is I had I started my career in the culinary world, so I'm an executive chef by trade, and that's where I learned a lot of my craziness, I guess. But I had a chef forever ago tell me to learn the most from the people who do the worst, and I think I take that to heart more than anything else. So I think I was most inspired by people who were not good people and who did not treat people fairly and everything else. And I decided that I was going to learn from them and be the opposite. So I think that was probably the best inspiration for me.
Couple more. A few more voices.
I'll go. I feel inspired actually when I'm with you guys, when I get to see you and your growth, but then also at the end of your journey in our program, when I get to see your outcomes. That's my favorite part. I'm complete.
I can go. I would have to say, Dave, like when I went through my master's program, it was interesting to see like-minded individuals all in one place, because I think we forget that when we're in our little bubble that we think everybody thinks like us, but that's not always the case. But it was inspiring to see the growth, like with Robbie said, with everyone to where they wanted to eventually be when they finished their masters. So it was inspiring to see everyone in different age groups, soon to be moms that were pregnant doing a master's, people that came from a different career to switch over to a different master's, so it's inspiring to see that it doesn't matter where you are in life, that you can do whatever you want to do once you eventually figure out your why. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you are, you can transition.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all. I want to flip things a little bit. Where have you found yourself uninspired? Where have you found yourself uninspired?
I can pop in here. So I would say, I found myself in different, in different jobs that I've had throughout my career or volunteer roles that I've done where you don't have a lot of autonomy or aren't able to use your creativity to try to come up with solutions to the problems that we're trying to solve. So that's very, and people just want you there as a body or as a person to get the tasks done. That does not motivate me in any way whatsoever. And those are periods of my life where I have found myself questioning, why am I here and what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put out to the universe that I'm feeling uninspired when I'm in the midst of a depressive episode, dealing with chronic depression and clinically diagnosed depression and stuff like that. That's when I am feeling uninspired, unmotivated, and also questioning why.
I would say, for me, being around negative people, like that's huge for me. Like I am so uninspired by people who are negative and don't see the rainbow at the end somehow. It's like they make it impossible. And so I am so not with being around people that are completely negative, and I can't turn them around to see it, as Leah says, think the way I think, and so to be around negative people is such a down for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing to add to what she just said that's uninspiring is when people don't want to change and just do things because that's the way they've always been done. And I think to grow and learn, you have to be open to change. And so I think sometimes that kind of dampers your inspiration when someone wants to do it just the same way it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
I was a special ed teacher last year, so this is all new to me. But just not having any support from like admin that I worked with was just uninspiring to want to continue, which is probably why I'm not. But also that they had to do inclusion last year, and it was the start of something like new in the school district, and just wasn't inspired to do it because no one else wanted to do it.
Megan, I was a teacher last year as well. So I can totally relate to you, and I totally agree. It's very uninspiring when you think you're meant to do something and you set out to do it and you just don't have that push, that support, and all the things you need to grow and learn and succeed in what you're doing. So totally agree. I can so relate to that.
Making some connections in the room already. Yeah. All right. I want you to just grab a notepad, a piece of paper real quick. While your minds are primed, reflecting back on your journey, where you've been inspired and where maybe you've been not so inspired. want you to just capture just a few quick thoughts on what has led you to where you are today. Who maybe has made an impact on your life, or if there's been any events that have really shifted your journey. Just going to spend just a couple minutes here grabbing those thoughts because they're hopefully top of mind right now. Just what has led you to where you are today? Who's made an impact on your life? And what events have shifted your journey? Just a real quick couple moments here. All right. Keep that paper handy and don't worry if you're able to capture all of them. We're going to come back to that in just a few moments. When it comes to explaining what we do or even how we do it, we tend to be, really good at that. Hey, this is what I do, right? We can do that. But it definitely takes some practice to think about and lead with why. And I want you to just use that same piece of paper that you've got. And I want you to imagine that you're meeting me, which, hey, you are meeting me for the very first time. I want you to write down who you are and what you do. So just jot down real quick, who you are and what you do. All right. Awesome. See, I'm just having y'all take notes because we've got some work for you to do coming up in a few slides, just prepping you. So when I introduce myself, I could say, hey, I'm Dave Clausen. I'm a facilitator, trainer, and speaker. Wah, wah, wah. That really may not pique somebody's interest into really learning more about me unless by chance they work in the similar field, they do the same kind of work that I do. Like when people ask me what we do at Hugh Life, I can say we are a training and facilitation company that uses participatory methods to create space for all voices to be heard. That pretty much covers it, right? Sounded a little little complicated, and folks may not really know if they want to learn more or even if it really means anything to them at all. So if I were to shift that and say, at Hugh Life, we inspire action for the greater good of human understanding and engagement. Well, what is that, you ask? Well, let me tell you, we offer training and facilitation services. Oh, how do you do that? Well, let me tell you how we do that. We use participatory methods to create space for all voices to be heard and valued. See, when you lead with why, it changes the feeling, the engagement of that conversation. It invites that individual or individuals in to want to learn more about what you do, because it starts with why you do what you do. And it really does take intentional effort and work to shift, to really lead with why. And so now I want you to, that same piece of paper, I want you to go back and start to separate out what you do from how you do it. Don't worry about the why. We'll tackle that in just a few minutes. But I want you to just take a moment and separate out what you do from how you do it. All right, hopefully got a few thoughts jotted down there. And when we think about engaging our community sectors, we usually do lead with what we do. And as you've likely picked up on, today we're challenging you to lead with why you do what you do and how that might change how you engage those community sectors and how those community sectors engage with you as well. So you already started taking notes as far as, what has led you to where you are today and who has made an impact on your life and what events may have shifted your journey. We're going to take just 3 more minutes for you to continue to jot down some of those notes to answer these questions because we're going to be bringing these thoughts into a partner activity coming up. So just 3 more minutes to finish grabbing those thoughts. And it doesn't need to be paragraphs, the whole story. It can just be bullet points and just some cliff notes. Just a few more minutes to capture the rest of those thoughts. All right. jot down that last thought you're working on right now. All right, as you finish up that thought, come on back. And so we're moving towards the partner activity. And they actually talked about this during the video as well. And we'll be dropping a Google Doc link in the chat box for this activity. And it is a forced copy, meaning it will prompt you to make a copy for yourself. That way we're not all taking notes on the exact same document. And if you have trouble, for some reason, your organization won't let you access Google Docs, no worries, just let us know. And actually, we'll probably have Megan put that in the chat box for you as a Word document if you need it. And as you look at that Google document, it gives you the instructions on what we're going to do, but I'll give you kind of a play-by-play. We're going to put you into pairs, and we'll be in there for about 20 minutes. And the goal is for you to share your journey, your story, what has led you to where you are today, those notes that you just took with your partner. Your partner is going to be listening for sort of the facts of those stories, and then also the meaning behind those stories. They're going to help you sift through the river of your life to find those nuggets of gold that speak to your why. Now, you could share something like, example, like, oh, hey, I used to go visit my grandfather every summer. There's not a lot there for my partner to work with. But if I said, hey, when I was a young teenager, 13, 14 years old, I would go visit my grandfather in the summer. And there was this one summer where he finally let me drive the tractor, because he lived out in the middle of the woods in the country at the dead end of a dead end road. And we'd always be outdoors running they'd be running chainsaws, doing work like that. And I just had to watch and never really got to actively participate. But he let me drive the tractor, and I felt so cool. Felt like he trusted me. Felt like I was an adult. And I can still remember that day to day, nearly 40 years later. There's a lot more to work with in that story, right? And as you're sharing your stories, you're welcome to go as deep, as personal as you would like and as you are comfortable with. There's no need to share details if you're not comfortable sharing them. You can share a journey of your career, your jobs, different jobs, and how that's led you to where you are today also. So when I did this activity, and if we're going to do it again, say with Angie being my partner, I'd say, hey, Angie, let me just tell you about a few big moments in my life. One being when I returned back from a year-long combat deployment to Iraq, where I suffered a traumatic brain injury and a whole bunch of other stuff. I jumped right back into college, and I was struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, that traumatic brain injury, and that led me to drinking. I felt alone. I felt isolated. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I didn't belong. But then I saw my father, who's a Vietnam veteran, who came back to live and be a role model of a successful, happy, healthy life. And that image, that gave me hope that I could make it through that dark period and overcome that adversity that I was currently facing. And the more I lean into what made me a good soldier, the more I saw how my dad was living his life day to day, the more I was able to turn my life around as well. So I can share that very personal story like that. Absolutely. Or I could share something along the lines like, hey, I was a police officer at Eastern Illinois University, and it didn't take me long to see the impact alcohol and drugs would have on how I did my life as a cop. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if there were less college students drinking, high risky drugs, behavior, all that, Let's do prevention work to try to prevent that. Let's get upstream. And that led me to the Illinois Higher Ed Center, to the Mid-America Prevention Technology Transfer Center, to a career in the prevention field. So 2 different versions. One very personal, very deep. If you're comfortable, there's a lot of gold in your personal stories, but also career-wise, sharing just your jobs or some of those other life experiences that have led you to where you are. So I want you to share what you're comfortable with. Then After you share your story, your partner is going to share their notes and say, hey, Dave, I heard you share about, having your father as a role model and that example that gave you hope. Tell me more about that. That was impactful. Hey, I heard you say that you struggled with alcohol. You had a traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of the facts. But with that hope, because you had that hope, it sounds like, that was what helped you overcome that adversity. So sharing back some of the facts that you heard, some of the meaning that you heard as well behind those stories to help me sift for those nuggets of gold in my river of life. All right, so you're going to go ahead and do that with your partners. All right, ask open-ended questions. And remember, as you're listening, the stories you're going to hear could be very, very impactful, very important, and very meaningful. And they can evoke strong feelings. So be present, be patient, and let your partners talk and share openly, freely, with no judgment. And after you share your notes with your partner, once they're done sharing their stories, you're going to switch roles. And you will do the same for each other. All right. So in that Google Doc, don't worry about the bottom half of that table. Just capture the facts and the meanings. The section that says contribution, impact, so to that, to the red text, don't worry about that. We'll come back to it. Angie, Megan, what did I leave out from those instructions? Everybody?
No, just that you've got 20 minutes in your breakout room, so 10 minutes per person for their share. We'll send you a note, broadcast a little note into the room at the 10-minute mark so that you know when it's time to switch.
All right.
It's their share and their feedback. So in 10 minutes, share and then receive your feedback from your partner.
All right.
And you cannot open the Google Doc, Dave. I'm going to throw one in for a Word document.
Yeah. Stand by. All right, coming to you right now. There's a Word document of that same form in the chat box. You can click that to download that and use that to take notes on.
All right. Should be all set. Rooms are opening right now.
All right. I say let's hit record, and hopefully you had some wonderful conversations with your partner, and thanks for bearing with us at the start. I had to do a little bit of shuffling with the breakout rooms. But now that your partner has shared some of those themes, some of the facts and meaning, some of those little nuggets of gold, it's time to start putting it all together to create your why statement, your impact statement. And the structure is this, as you see right here on the screen. What is the verb that you want to use, and what impact do you want to create? 2, so that. And on the next slide, we've got a few verbs to kind of get you started, but it's really all about what is that contribution that you're driving to make, to engage, to empower, to inspire, to connect. Just a few of them. So who wants to just share right now, just a couple folks? What are some of those words, those themes, those things that you heard as your partner shared back to you? What are some of those things they shared?
I would say I'm looking at it. For me, when we talked, I felt like it was trust that my partner really, really honed in on and did a great job with it. And so trust would be one of mine that I think was her contribution.
I would say mine is desire. My partner, she knew from like early on how humbled she was, like with her her parents taught her that everyone has differences, and knowing that it has helped her as far as like who she is today, because she knows everyone comes from different backgrounds, and I feel like that helped her become a better person.
Yeah.
For both my partner and I, we both prefaced and emphasized our family orientation, and she's gone through a lot more life and has had the opportunity to have a marriage and have children and create her own family, versus I am just at the beginning and still a part of my parents' family. But we both emphasized how important those are to us. And again, last time I spoke in the group, it was about my family as well and how they've impacted my life. But it makes us a better person in the work setting as well, and want to contribute and go home to see her kids. So she wants to succeed at her job every single day for them.
Beautiful words of wisdom, beautiful tidbits and insights into those conversations you had. Yeah. So now you're starting to hone in on that verb, and you want to think about that, so that, and that's the impact you want to have with that verb. So when you do something, what do you want that impact to be? And we're going to put you back into breakouts in a minute, where you can use the bottom of that Google sheet, the contribution, the impact, the to, so that sections as well. And you don't have to complete or decide on the to or the so that in any particular order. So jot some thoughts down, talk it out with your partner, use them as a sounding board, and work to craft your why statement. And that why statement you see here on the screen, that's actually my personal why statement, and I have it set as my computer background as well. So I see it every day when I turn on my computer. And yeah, I shared a little bit about my combat deployment and PTSD and the role model of a father that I have and how that really helped me grow. And that's where this why statement came from, to live and share a life of continued growth so that we may overcome adversity and live a fulfilling life. So the big thing, my dad, my father, he's living example, how he lives in every day, that role model. And sharing is important to me because I want to share with others so they know they're not alone as well. That continued growth comes from looking at what made me a good soldier and how could I apply that to my civilian life to help me grow, to help me overcome that adversity as well. And living that fulfilling life is something we all deserve. So that's how my why story, my journey to where I am today, helped craft my why statement. So we're going to put you back in the breakout rooms for about 15 minutes. And I want you to just talk through these with your partner, fine tune it, come up with some version of a draft. Don't worry, it is not going to be perfect today. This is, I think, the 5th version of my why statement. It works to just jot it down, step away from it for a few days, and then revisit your why to see if it still really resonates. It still gives you that goosebumps feeling when you read it. Make a few revisions, edits, changes, tweaks here or there as needed. So today you're likely not going to get your finished, polished final version, and that's okay because it takes time. All right. So breakout rooms, another 15 minutes. Feel free to work whatever you need to do, sounding it out or just writing it out. See you in a few.
There you go.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Before we send you to break, because you've been doing a lot of thinking, we know that this first portion of this session can be kind of heavy, kind of draining a little bit. So we'll give you a break in just a moment, but I wanted to open up the floor and invite anybody that is comfortable and willing to kind of share what you've come up with so far. Who's willing to put it out there?
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
I said to advocate for others so that my community can overcome generational diseases so they can have longer life expectancy.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Did some work in there. Anyone else want to share?
I can go.
I can go. I can go. I can a little bit of echo.
Is it better?
Yes. Oh, gotta mute the speakers on the other computer.
Okay, I can go. Sorry about that. My why is to inspire my community by my commitment to serve and listen to their concerns and needs so that they will feel connected to our organization and seen and heard.
Yes. This is my favorite part. I love hearing what y'all come up with. Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah.
I'll share.
Mm-hmm.
To overcome obstacles and barriers to healthcare so that community members have equal access to healthy outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you, Kim. Keep them coming. This is fun. Anyone else? All right. Y'all did a lot of work. A lot of thinking. Let those why statements sit for a few days. Come back, check in with them, and see if they still, resonate. They hit that X marks the spot, and make a few edits as needed. But y'all have done a lot of work. Megan, what do we say? Is it break time?
It is indeed break time. So we're going to give you 10 minutes here. So if you want to come back at 5 past the hour, we will get things going again.
Collaborations. We can have collaborations, we can have coalitions, we can have cooperation, and we probably have heard all of these. So if I can have a voice give the top 2 lines there, what is a collaboration? When we talk about the word collaboration, what are we meaning by that? Who's got their microphone ready to come off mute?
Working together to solve a problem or to achieve a goal, sharing of knowledge, expertise, and manual labor may be required.
So you are bringing, something together. You are sharing your knowledge. You've got something, we're creating that win-win, that is collaboration. Whereas the coalition, if you're to use that, we're really talking about what? Another voice, or Cassandra, if you want to continue on down the road.
Exists to bring broader attention to a large goal that affects many stakeholders.
So like for me at the state level, we were talking about reducing substance use throughout the state of Iowa. So we had a coalition. It was a broad goal to really accomplish that. And we needed many stakeholders across the board to really work on that. Whereas in cooperation, it might be something that you're all working together on. And so Cassandra, let's look at that one. What does that say?
Refers to a process of working in unison to achieve an objective rather than to work independently to compete.
So this would be like you have your community connect events on down the way. And by the way, thank you, Cassandra. You may work together as community champions to really kind of support each other in cooperation with one another. Mr. Clausen there, he oftentimes refers to together is better. And so this is where that cooperation really falls into. I think we get really confused though sometimes, and we probably use these interchangeable. For instance, I'm sure that you've heard all of these used one way or another. Just to kind of get you making sure you're still awake after your morning snack here, let's go ahead and pull that annotate out and put a symbol by the one that you've heard the most working in your work that you do. So under you're viewing Megan's screen, you'll see annotate and just choose a stamp and put your stamp beside which one you've heard the most. So collaboration and coalition. I've also heard, oh, what was the other word? I got so confused, and the coordinator that I was working with was like called out by the person in charge of that, collaborative. So a combination, they used the word collaborative, and it was actually a coalition, but because it was already being used in the community, they made them call themselves a collaborative, which was fine. It was hard though. So we have it all over the board. You can see the importance to really distinguish the difference between these. And so if you're working on one of a broader area that you might bring all those stakeholders together, then you really are working on that coalition. But if you're working towards one single goal and you need people's expertise, that's when we're talking about collaboration. There's another way that we can look at this, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of our time together, is to talk about the different roles, the different places that people may be involved. How many of you have been involved in an organization and you just really didn't even know what your defined role was? Or anyone? Like you just showed up and you're like, I don't even know why I'm attending this. Absolutely. So if we can identify the level of involvement that you are intended to be there, it's more likely you'll feel like you have a place at the table and you'll be willing to put your time in at that understanding of how much time is going to be needed. Because not every one of these levels are going to be treated the same or we have the same kind of expectations. So let's look at the first one, which is that core circle. And it's this core circle, like when I was telling the example of our alliance in the state of Iowa, at our core circles where we had those people that were working to identify those other stakeholders. They're the ones that were working on the day-to-day work. I call them shepherds that went out and tried to find these other folks. The core circle were the ones that really developed the organizational why collectively. They were responsible for making sure the action teams were convening, that the work was being reported back out. They were really expected to step in and step up to the work that was outlined by the grant goals. So the core circle is really important in making everything to move forward and get those objectives done. So most of you would be considered at the core, obviously, and perhaps if you're in the supervisor role, you might be there too, but you might be in the next circle as that goes. The next circle that we're talking about is the circle of engagement. These are the folks that are really committed to the plan who can be called on to help with specific tasks at a particular time. They're not necessarily the prime movers or the implementation of the effort, but they're willing to assure and assume some of the roles that are the responsibilities for it. They may or may not have been involved in the development of the plan. Oftentimes they are, but they may not have been. And they may be increasingly engaged in the implementation and actually the leadership. In some cases, I know that some of you stepped into the community champion role as a supervisor when someone left. And so you may move into the core circle or may stay just at the circle of engagement. Oftentimes, this is where the supervisors may fall into, whereas the community champion would be more at that core. Questions on the distinction of those two, because that's pretty much who we have here. Is you're either at the core or you're going to be at the circles of engagement. Make sense? All right, moving on to the next circle. This is the circles of champions. So the circles of champions hold a position of leadership and they may be needed for the commitment of that plan. So this might be like your hospital administrator, someone that's higher up. It may be an organization that you're working with and their executive to make sure that they have folks assigned to do this work. They may or may not be involved in the daily activities of the implementation, but they may hold the authority. So like when we were working with the schools, for instance, the superintendent of schools was not going to be present, but he or she could say that, yes, indeed, please bring our guidance counselor in to do that work and have them work with it. They authorized the authority that needed to be allowing staff time to do such. Or maybe it was authorizing us to be able to use the gym to do a health fair, for instance. So having those champions identified is really important, because they're going to be your cheerleaders. They're going to be the ones that help make the sustainability move forward. They're the ones that really will give you idea of what direction the work that could continue. So you need to make sure you keep them informed of the big picture and where to be plugged in strategically without having the details. They're not necessarily needing all the details of your day-to-day operations or even your month-to-month operations, but they're the ones that perhaps they're, you ask them, how would you like to stay informed of what we're doing? So the next circle is the circle of information and awareness. These aren't usually very close to the plan, but they like to be kept in the loop as things unfold. They're able, because their positions or roles that they have, to lend support to raising the questions about it, slow it down. They may be the ones to ask questions that the community may want to know. So oftentimes in our small towns, especially, we still have newspapers. And so your local reporter might be this person, or the radio station. They're very interested in what's happening as community engagement, and they can help move initiatives forward by just you giving them the reports of what's happening. I had a relationship with our local newspaper back in the day where I would give them media puddles. And that was just facts and things that were happening with our grants that we were working on. They picked them up literally out of a basket. I would have like little slips of paper that they could tap into when they had space to fill in their newspaper. And so we use the term media puddles. They couldn't come to every single meeting because they were super busy. I mean, there was 2 people running a whole county newspaper. At that time, we were running 2 a week. There was no way they had time to add another meeting to their agenda, but more than happy to move our information along. So who are those people that really are those information gatekeepers in your community that could raise the awareness to what you're doing? Oftentimes overlooked here is the power of the church bulletin. Think about the information you see in a church bulletin and how many parishioners take that information home with them and have perhaps your event that you have coming up as an option, for instance. It might be an internal newsletter to a hospital or a corporation that you might be working with. So be thinking outside the box about who can communicate to the larger public. All right. And these people, a great example would be in a local county over from me. We had a radio person that was coming to the meetings occasionally. She started learning what we were doing. And here she was a person that was had been a person living with addiction in recovery. And she heard about our substance use coalition, misuse coalition. And she's like, I need to be involved in this because I want to stop. She became the chair of that organization. So she moved into the center circle and was actually working with the core circle. You never know. Once people start understanding and their passions are tapped into and their why statement, the closer the why aligns with your work, the more likely they'll move to the center of the circle and pick up more of the work. And then the next circle is the out of the possibility of, what could be a circle of possibility. And so for us, these are the long shots or the wild cards, and you may not have thought of them right away. So back in the day when opiates were just kind of hitting the market and it was a new thing that we had to really pay attention to. The DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, had a program for drug take back. How many are familiar with the drug take back program? Some of you? Kind of, sort of, maybe. So they used to, all our coalitions across the nation, really, we were all allowed to do these drug take back days, and the DEA would come and pick up the pills. And we would have boxes. I mean, like those soda boxes where the cans all go into, we would fill in our little county, fill those up. And then the DEA would take them. Well, they canceled that program. So when they canceled that program, our county sheriff was left with all these pills in the evidence locker, and he's like, what am I going to do with these? So our statewide organization, there was not a place to incinerate them. There was not a place that we could take them because they had to be properly disposed of. So with our circle of possibility at our statewide coalition, we started talking to the Mortician Association. And what was the possibility of us working with them to use their incinerators for the disposal of the pills. So it became an option. It was a circle of possibility. Locally, our morticians actually started doing work with us and raising awareness for underage drinking. And we had the kids do a once a year event, and they would offer us a coffin to work with. I mean, the kids were doing their own thing. Scare cat tactics don't really work, but back then we were doing them. And so, borrow a coffin to show your image. And so there was things that we would never have thought of, but that's a circle of possibility. It may be, I've heard of like the streets department, where there's a lot of garbage and cleanup that is needed to change an event or a park or some such. They may actually want to get involved to change that environment. So really think outside the box for these folks. So what we're going to do is have you explore these a little bit and know that they can come in many different areas. So the next slide will show you some ideas of where you might think. And we have a worksheet that we're going to be putting you in breakout rooms with. For this one, we want to try and keep you together with the folks that you were working with to know your community. So who is it that you know that might be a policymaker that actually might be very involved? Maybe you know someone that has been impacted by some sort of health disparity at the policymaking level that might be wanting to be very much a champion at your Community Connect event, for instance. So identifying what level of involvement each one of these. First of all, you're going to identify the people in some of these different sectors, and then we're going to have you identify what level they might be. So if you look at the document that we're going to drop in the chat,
Oh, I'm having a technical problem. Are you able to drop that in there, Angie?
I don't have it pulled up.
Okay. Let me,
because I have my PowerPoint on a separate thing. So in a moment, we'll have you going into your breakout rooms. And the first thing we want you to do is just make a list of all those people who you might get involved in the work that you're doing to really help move your objectives along. And then there's definitions on the second page of this worksheet. And it might be in your workbook that you also were downloaded.
bear with me. Almost got it.
Is it the expanding participation sheet that was in the workbook we printed?
Yep, that's what we're looking at, expanding participation sheet. That's it.
Page 10.
Page 10 of your workbook. Or 11, Dave might have noted, but 10 or 11. And if you could just put up the screen, Megan.
Yep.
So we want you to identify any organizations, businesses, maybe departments within the hospital, groups, Kiwanis, Lions, Tigers, and Bears, oh my, who might be those people? And if you are working with someone that's of a separate community than you, then what your work is, you can identify it by a, this type of business or this type of organization. But ideally, if you're working with the people that you know the community well enough, name that person who you might be able to reach out to. And then after you get done with that, what we're going to be doing is looking at those different levels of involvement. So for the next 10 minutes or so, we'll be having you go into these breakout rooms to just brainstorm a list of people. Okay, any questions? What questions do you have? Okay. All right, well, we basically got a list, hopefully. Everyone get a few names on your paper, some ideas of who you might get involved. Get started anyway. Do we have people back with me? Let's hear of a couple of names or sectors that you might have included that you might not have thought of before doing this activity.
It's Jennifer. We gathered a list of people who we think would be beneficial for this. So we have a few people from, let's see, like the Circle of Information Awareness. So public, I guess the informational sector would be like our newspaper. We have a local newspaper. We also have a Facebook group for the Washington County. So they serve a lot of information through surrounding counties around here. So we have her listed. And then we listed all the local pastors, and that plan we have is to start a newsletter here. So that would also be an informal sector or informational. And then we have a person of contact that would be a big play, would be our local librarian. She runs the librarian, but she is also connected to our mayor. So if we can get her actively working with us, that'll be beneficial for us as well. So we just composed a few people, and I'm complete.
Awesome. Yes. And, you know, tapping into those networks, some of those Facebook groups and such have thousands of people, right, that are connected to, and learning from some of the folks of how you can share and post and like and make those logarithms all go. That's all beyond me, but they know. And so working with those folks and figuring that out, how you can get your message out broader and wider as well. Awesome. Who else? I think Penny, you might have came off mute as well. Maybe not.
This is
Yeah,
JD.
gonna answer.
For us, one of the ones that we thought about that we'd like to be involved with that we didn't think about before this was actually the city of Cape Girardeau where we live. The city does a lot of functions and things in, you know, around the community that we interact with, but we don't actually become a part of. So they're now on our list of people we want to be involved with. That's, I think, our biggest one for us.
Absolutely. And in some ways that you might bring a little bit balance to them because they don't have a designated person oftentimes in some of these cities to do that kind of community engagement. And so partnering together in that type of work is really important. Let's try Penny again.
So one of the things that we talked about is people that we would like to get involved in the work that we're doing, and that would be, we have several things: community leaders, church leaders, our board members, school leaders, and then we have a circle group. It's we call it Circle Group, and it's a group of 50 or older. And those would be a lot of the people that we would like to get information to, especially with our rural health clinics.
Absolutely. And what a great lead into my next slide, Miss Penny. So with our next slide, we're going to be looking at just that. Who do we really wish to get more engaged? So the next page in your workbook, is really to talk about those challenges that you have in connecting to those folks. So let's take a look here. We'll be wanting you to think about the challenges. So identify the sector that you'd like to get more involved in. What is the challenges that they face? Go ahead and do a couple clicks there, Megan. And then really thinking about your why. You guys had some really powerful whys. How does their potential why, what you might think it might be, align with yours? So looking at some of those strategies to overcome that. How could you make some alignment to some of those, like you just mentioned, Penny, and you'd like to get these people involved. So the circle group, what do they have that they're passionate about, that they're doing, that might align with your organization and your objectives that you need to achieve? And so what might be your approach? So when I was talking about our core group at our AC4C, our statewide, I mentioned that they were like the shepherds. So this is the activity that we did as the core group, is really identify who do we have to be more engaged? What are we thinking that their challenges are that they are facing as far as getting involved? Kind of like what JD, when you were talking about the city, they may not have people to do community engagement, but they know it's their stewardship within the city, and the city council certainly isn't counting on their constituents to vote them back in. So you're showing goodwill by doing some of these good community engagement activities. So those might be some of those alignments that are there. And then how does that align with your work? So what might be the ask, the last bullet point there, Megan? How might you approach those folks? So what might be the draw that would be the win-win for the sector you're trying to get involved with, and how it might align with your objectives? So what might be an example that we can share with one another before we put in breakout groups?
I can go. I was jotting down stuff while you were talking because the wheels started turning. I was gonna say changing like people's mindset, because I know with my organization, sometimes people can say things like, well, that rarely ever happens. Well, the majority is fine. And I'm like, and my first mind goes to like, I'm in population health. I'm thinking about everyone, everybody, every equal opportunity. I'm thinking about equity. So it just gives me it. I have to like take a second because I just want to be like, no, you know. So just changing people's mindset to think more population based, and that people as like your whole community, not just the majority.
Right. So the issue, the challenge they face is being narrow in their focus, right? And so by your why, to really reach out, if you would, Leah, just share what your why was again. Do you have it handy there?
Yes, ma'am. I can get it back up. So I said to advocate for others so that my community can overcome generational diseases so they can have longer life expectancy.
So then approaching some of those, let's say you go to the senior center, for instance, where they do meals and they may be only thinking on elder health, but what if they were able to think back, and how could they align with that generational changes that have not occurred, and what could be different if we did approach this from get to the upstream of the issues that they have seen over their lifetime. So instead of just focusing at the senior level, as you're speaking of, what if they were to think a little bit broader, and what were some of those things that they knew in their lifetime to really get them to some of those issues that they know now at senior health? So how can we go upstream with that? So that's the kind of stretch we want you to do for the next, we got probably about 10 minutes here. This is all we've got. So let's go ahead and dive into that a little bit, even if you just tease out one sector and kind of ask yourselves these questions. To the next slide, if you'd like. So as we finalize our time here together, I just want to do one last go around to kind of either finish talking about what you have done the last 20 minutes or so, and or just reflect on the whole day as itself. So in one good closing, I'm just going to have one last go around. And by answering the statement I came in with and I'm leaving with, and then we'll turn it over to Robbie to wrap us up. So Candy, if you're there, then we go Andrea and Kim.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Yep.
I came in with a pretty generic why statement. And I'm going to say that I haven't perfected it yet, but I will say that it is coming along pretty good. And also I got to meet somebody we were in breakout sessions twice with each other, and we will be at the same health fair Saturday. So I actually got to engage with her, meet her, and we'll actually be working together probably quite a bit over the next several years because of them being right down the road. So that actually helped too.
Awesome. Thank you, Candy. Andrea, Kim, and Jennifer.
I'm here. I'm having problems with my camera, but I came into this meeting with trying to figure out what is my why. And now I after hearing everybody, learning this position, I know what my why is, and I'm learning after speaking with Cassandra, being able to give her pointers, because we have went through all the different what they call engagements and community connect events, and to help her out, then I was able to inspire her and give her pointers on what to expect. So I think this has been a great experience for me.
All right, thank you, Andrea. Andrea or Andrea? I got both
Andrea.
in my family.
Andrea.
Andrea. Okay, thank you. Kim, Jennifer, and Cassandra.
Well, I came into this session, I think knowing a large picture of my why, but I think this session has helped me to kind of narrow it down and have a better perspective from that general idea to more a specific why. And so I'm leaving with more confidence on how to relate that back to our potential community partners.
All right, Jennifer, Cassandra, Teresa, and can't remember what your other name is there. Jennifer. Jennifer, you are Jennifer and Teresa and Cassandra.
I came with knowledge of a little bit about my why. I had a general thought, but now I'm leaving with charged batteries, so to say, to go live out my why and go bring that to the people I could connect with.
All right, let's go ahead and let Teresa and then Cassandra.
Hey, this is Teresa. I really came into this meeting with kind of a vague, unclear expectations and understanding of how we're connecting these dots with this community champion and where we're headed. So I feel like I'm leaving with a clear why. It's been a great session.
All right, thank you. Cassandra Giavoni, I'm going to ask you how to say your name. Cassandra.
Hi, I came in with kind of a good understanding of what to expect, and meeting in the breakouts, two really nice people that I connected with very well, and I hope to keep that relationship going with the both of them, being able to reach out to them. And I'm leaving with a huge understanding, more better on my why. Still working on it. It's an ongoing chapter, I believe. It may be an ongoing chapter, but I'm truly better for having this training.
Giovanni, did I get it right?
It's Javon.
Javon, all right, yes. Thank you. And then Megan and Hannah will be next. Javon, let's hear from you.
I came with uncertainty. I wasn't really sure what to expect. And after today, I am leaving with inspiration because of the people that I talked with. They gave me some really good ideas of how I can move forward with trying to plan my community connect event. And one of the connections that I made today was very special, and she brightened up my day a little bit, and she doesn't even know it. So um, that's what I'm leaving with, and I'm complete.
Awesome. Thank you. Megan, Hannah, and Stacy.
I'm Megan. I came with zero expectations. I really didn't know what to expect or what I was gaining or anything. And I gained connections with people, and I feel like I have a better understanding of what my why can be or potentially be, because I'm not quite finished with it. I'm complete.
That's all right. Works in progress. That's perfectly a-okay. Hannah, Stacy, and Penny.
Can anybody hear me?
We can.
Okay, wonderful. I came with an idea and a short list of people that I knew I wanted to involve and had already reached out to, but kind of felt stuck on expanding that circle. And now I'm leaving with a lot more opportunities and knowledge of different resources that's in my community just by talking with partners. So thank you.
Awesome. Stacy, Penny, and Emily. Stacy, I'm frozen. Stacy, can we hear you? Can you hear me? Stacy is frozen, I believe, or it's me.
No, I can't hear Stacy either. Stacy, if you want to go ahead and put yours in the chat, that would be great.
And then we're looking at Penny and then Emily and Lanaya.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I came in with very little knowledge of why. And after leaving today, I am leaving with a better understanding of why.
All right, very good. And we got Emily, Lanaya, and JD.
Well, I came in with, I think just little understanding of my why and where I was going. And now I am leaving with more of a, being a bigger picture thinker about my reason and the direction that I'm going.
All right, Lanaya, JD, and Leah.
I came in like kind of absent-mindedly knowing the people that we wanted to work with but weren't, and now we have kind of a set plan on how to work with those people. So I am complete.
Thank you, JD and Leah.
I came in with, I've watched Simon Sinek stuff a lot, so I thought I had a good why, but I've always put it for myself, not really considered it for the organization. So I came in with a personal why, but I'm leaving with a business why.
All right, awesome. And check out that blue book that was in there, JD, if you haven't had that, because that really digs into a team why as well. And is it Leah or Lee? Let me make sure I get your name right. All right, Leah.
Yes, ma'am. I came in with a broad understanding of my why, and I'm leaving with a deeper, digging deeper and thinking things much through.
All right, awesome. And it looks like Stacy's having something similar with coming in with a certain why and leaving with a better understanding of my why. Robbie, I didn't leave you much time, sorry, but we had some great insights there and some wonderful reflection. So turn it over to you, Robbie, to finish us off.
No worries. All right. Can y'all see my screen okay?
Yep.
I could take it away.
All right. So I just wanted to touch base with you all and give you some homework. We are having a mandatory Q&A this Thursday, August 3rd. It should be on your calendars. If it is not, please let me know as soon as possible. We are asking that you create a presentation. It can either be PowerPoint or Canva, since we've had 101 trainings on both of those. And we would like you to create one slide with your why statement. And I want to give you a few pointers here. One, it does not have to be your perfected final why statement. It can be a rough draft. It can have some blanks in it. We're going to work through it together, but I would love to just see what you've come up with so far. Also, just as a reminder, when you're doing presentations, we touched on this in both the Canva and PowerPoint trainings, use some visuals. Don't just give me words on a screen. We want to see visuals, whatever that means to you, pictures, artwork, whatever it makes sense to go with your why statement. So be prepared to have those ready at our Q&A on August 3rd. And again, if you don't have that on your calendars, let me know. And it is for community champions only. Teresa, I see your question in the chat. So yes, this will just be for community champions. And I'm complete.
And also, please, I don't know if I missed this part, but come with your workbook so we can talk more about your circles of involvement as well. And if you're still struggling with your why statement, we want to really just focus on the technical piece of your presentation. So come with a slide of something and we'll talk about your why statement. Come with your slide of help me with my why statement. We just want to see your slide. I'm complete.
Thank you, Jamie, and thank you, Megan, for launching the polls. So lastly, we have some upcoming program activities. Becca, actually, I'm going to ask you to share the link that's in the PowerPoint for our survey. Again, like we did the other day, this is our overall evaluation, just to give us an idea of how we're doing and all that fun stuff with all the trainings we give you. But for upcoming program activities, again, Thursday, we have the mandatory Q&A just for champions. We also have Conversations That Matter on the 22nd, 24th, 29th, and 31st. So in about 3 weeks' time, that is champions required and supervisors optional. We also have on the 5th and 7th of September, the mandatory Q&A for the Trading Conversations That Matter. Champions required, supervisors optional again. And then in the middle of September, on the 13th and 14th, we have our summit in Memphis. That is at least the community champions required, along with CEOs, and then 2 possible others that can join. We also have the Q&A work times on Tuesdays at 10, Thursdays at 9. Feel free to join if you have any questions, if it's not mandatory. And then, as always, just continue to connect and introduce yourself with your partners in your community. And we also have our staff contact information. You can email, call any one of us. We're always happy to help. And you can always email or call at our main inbox. And that is all I have, and I'll let you go. Thanks, y'all.
Good work, everyone. Keep crafting up and honing those whys.